Great. Welcome everybody. Yeah, I have a presentation prepared, which I will go through. Otherwise, it would be silly of having prepared it. But if there are questions, I mean, let's try to have a dialogue here. That's the easiest to do so. So in short, I'm going to tell you something about ourselves, what we did during the Blockchaingers Hackathon, where we won the Digital Nations track, and what we've done so far, and how we view the future. It's not as fancy as Dimitri's, but it's a short future. So perhaps a little bit about myself. I was one of the founders of the Ledger a little over 1.5 years ago. That's enough about myself. And Karsten, he's our main guy in the Netherlands. The Ledger is a company. We do blockchain consultancy and services in Belgium and the Netherlands. I won't make too much of an advertisement session about it. But we've done around 20 POCs in the last year and a half, mostly in the finance sector, in the public sector, but also in supply chain since a couple of months. We're not just building stuff, we're not only a prototyping and a production company, but we're also helping companies and governments and so on to go from an idea and a concept, and we do some design thinking for that, all the way to a prototype, and now we're having 2 projects that will go into production this year. And again, Belgium and the Netherlands, so we speak the same language but differently, something like that. So our idea and what we've built, is everybody aware of the idea or the POC we've made during the hackathon? It's a dialogue, people, so... No? Okay, really short. It's a very cool picture here, but the idea was, how can we make not only a sort of passport for our houses, that we can track whatever happened in the past, but also make them conscious, so that they can make decisions for us. So what we've built a few things in that demo. It's a housing passport with all the modifications that were done. Isolation, solar panels, extra things added, breakdowns, whatever. And so you have also an identity of all the contractors, and you can link those. For example, it was the plumber Peters who installed my new bathroom, for example. Apart from that, we've built a portal for governments so that they can have some anonymized information to see, for example, what is the energy label for a set of houses in a certain region. So that the government could say, okay, we're going to make a subsidy specifically for this region, specifically, for example, for isolation in the rooftops. Because we see that they're wasting a lot of energy going through the roof. Apart from that, we've built we call it an AI, but it's not really an AI, just a couple if-then-else things. But it can get a lot cooler. It's where you can say to your house, depending on certain properties, you can take decisions within this margin. For example, yeah, you can take decisions for installing solar panels and for getting isolation installed or doing some maintenance works up to a budget of 100K. And the AI will go and select on what the government has installed for subsidies. Okay, this is cool, let's try to do this. And you say, okay, that's good, they're installing it. And what they will do, they will create a bid on another thing we developed, a reverse bidding market. So instead of somebody saying, hey, I have some skills to install a new roof, they say, hey, we need somebody who wants to install a new roof, what's your price? So that there's competition created by all the different contractors. And apart from that, after the works were done, people need to get paid. We used a crypto, not library, but a network for that, Stellar, so that the payments have been done automated. So we did quite a lot on those a couple of days. So these are a few pictures of those. This is a dashboard for the government, where they can see, for example, the usage of a subsidy, because how it happens today is a government says, we're going to do a new subsidy, and every 3, 6 or year, we're going to see what the impact of it. And usually it's during a budget revision, and they see, oh, we've spent too much money on that. So they get an instant, real-time view on how much of these subsidies are being consumed. A marketplace, as you can see there, it's an offer. I don't know what the name is of this picture there. There's an offer, an installation. Will somebody install some solar panels on my roof? And then one of the companies who is registered, and here we made a link with the Chamber of Commerce so that you know exactly who is making this offer, who will say, I will install these solar panels. because that's an issue, and there's another track for that, identity. How do we create identity on a digital platform or on the internet? We use the Chamber of Commerce for that. And thank you for the timer. And this is an overall view of a portal for the owner. Not only can they see, okay, what's my eco information, what's my energy label, they can see extra information from this is how it's coming from the cadastre. But also, and that's most importantly, when they want to sell their house or their building, they have a very correct view of what the current state is of it and what has happened in the past, its entire history. And thanks to the blockchain technology behind it, you're certain that it hasn't been tampered with, or if fraud has happened, well, you will be able to catch the guilty one somewhere in the future because it's linked to that contractor. So we use Stellar, we created the backend, the identification there was done with OAuth 0, and everything apart from the payments done on Stellar, we've built on Hyperledger Fabric. This is it's just some information about that. Okay, that was what we built. What are the next steps for that? We were very happy that we won the hackathon, but then of course next step needed to happen. So we thought about how should we approach that. So, and this is just some extra information. We think there are 3 ways on how you can go on and create a blockchain application in general. One is to say, okay, we're going to use something in the public atmosphere. You create a dApp on Ethereum, for example, or another public network. Or you go, as Dimitri explained in the previous presentation, you want to create some other kind of community. But we quickly said, okay, this would become way too complex to do that, because you have really no tangible market that you can already tap into. So we said, okay, let's do another way. Let's, instead of go for public blockchain networks, let's see if we can create an enterprise blockchain network, meaning a private where you know who are the big players in it. We said on the business case, it's quite clear there. We're going to build a consortium, that was the idea. We create a blockchain network where you have already your decentralization done because every party has a couple of nodes. We build applications and integration. So the idea was, let's create a network of trust between all different parties. That was the idea. And we had a lot of discussions with multiple parties. The cadastre also had, we had a lot of discussions and meetings with them. They're still going on there. We had some help from that also from the Blockchaingers organization. But the thing is, we noticed that with our idea, it's very hard to create this kind of consortium for that. It will be, and I've quoted myself, hard and slow. Meaning it goes very slowly because you have a lot of meetings. It's hard because you need to find somewhere seed investment from these parties to do initial step. But there is no one really in lead of the project because you have all these different partners that say, okay, we want to follow. But we're building an ecosystem. Meaning there is not one party who can claim everything. Meaning they all have to lead and follow at the same time. And that's quite difficult to do because we've heard from a couple of partners, yeah, great idea. It's a hard pitch to make, but a great idea. If it works, we'll follow. And we've had that with a lot of other projects we have as well. So you build a prototype, iterate, great. All right, how much to put it in production? Okay. Now what's the benefits? Cui bono? Eh? And then it says, okay, if you have other partners, then we will follow. But very few people tend to take the first step. And that's something, the difficulties we've run on in the past couple of weeks. So what we're looking for, we completely changed around. Instead of going for a consortium and say, we need multiple parties already involved for our decentralization, we need that. Let's look for someone who wants to start on its own. We are looking for a first leader that says, okay, we believe in the concept, we see the added value of indeed this housing passport, making it conscious, and as a form of application. Yeah, thank you, I'll drink in a second. Once I'm going, it doesn't matter really, my saliva helps. So, and instead of saying we're going to do public or in consortium, let's start as a normal application. What are the added values? Imagine that it would be built using some kind of central database even. But instead of building a central database, I'm going to use a front end, some integrations there, and we only have one party who has the entire blockchain there, the entire enterprise blockchain. Well, yeah, that's not really a blockchain application because you don't have the decentralization that's necessary. But then suddenly there's a business possibility, a business case to be made. Not only you see the added value of the applications for customers to use, But you see the added value to say, okay, we need this decentralization. Let's get other parties involved afterwards and say, okay, if you want to partner up, well, you get the application, and also you need to host a few nodes. And then there's a possibility is there to either say, you take care of it, whatever you want to do with it, or we'll host it for you. Or you can host it on whatever cloud or on-premise that you want. To interact with it, you can build your own layer, doesn't really matter, or we have a SaaS solution for that, and so on and so on. So it's a much larger business case to monetize it, and that's what we're looking for at this moment. The bad thing about it, or not bad really, but is in the beginning it's more like a central system, and the decentralized gets the more and more people on board. The good thing about it, well, you can take decisions with one party. So what do we offer? And that's, I want to go to some Q&A real quick, is we have a very strong team, and we have some very strong technical capabilities which we've done, which we've showcased, let's say, with multiple projects in Belgium and also a few in the Netherlands already. And mostly in the form of, all right, there's an idea, we'll help you develop the idea, and we'll build a prototype. But for this project, we want to be in the lead as well. And we want to create a product, really, which is something that we're looking at a strong partner for that says, okay, we believe in you, we go all the way. So that's the question, really, and I want to go through some, perhaps there are some ideas in the audience, because we don't have all the ideas, on how can we collaborate? And how do you see that this might become a successful project? Thank you.
Fantastic, we will follow if it works, constructive thought. And for me, there's actually two things that could be being said. One is we have no belief in you whatsoever, but we want to be polite. And the other end is genuinely, hey, if it works, we will follow. One manner of collecting those sort of commitments to follow up is to say, okay, under what conditions will you follow? So for one party, it might be, hey, if you can find two others, then I'm in. And you say, okay, give me a letter of intent that says, if and only if I have two partners, according to the constraints that they want, then you will also join. Because that letter is something you can take to the next party and say, hey, I've got the first one who's in principle, but I need two more. That gives you a social proof that says, okay, somebody's in, but not quite yet. And so to number two, you say, what would it take to get you in? And they say, well, you know what, if you get the third one, I'll be number two.
Okay.
Get that in writing, right? And still nobody's committed yet until you've got your third one. You go to the third one and they say, oh, no, I'm not in until you've got 10. Okay, fine, never mind. Move on, find the third one. And then when you've got the three, you bring them back together and say, fantastic, we've got a deal because you've already committed. I have done what I promised against what you have asked to get you in. So that might be a mechanism you can think of when you're getting beyond your sort of launching partner and getting into partners A, B, C, D, E, F, because you're still going to hear, well, maybe I want to see a bit more, maybe I want to see a bit more. And at some point, obviously, you'll reach critical mass, but they're knocking on your door, and you're going to say, well, it's getting harder to get in now. You know, you've got to do more to justify getting in.
Well, that's the luxury you want to get to, of course.
Exactly. To break that initial inertia from we're interested, but flip that round and say, great, commit, and I'll deliver.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, thank you. The microphone? For the questions. Okay, sorry. I can come around. I'll feel like Dr. Phil or whatever. Anyone has an idea, something to say, really? Rutger?
Can you bring it back to the project, because this is a couple of projects. So
which one do you mean?
well, what is the most representative for? Yeah, sure.
This one. All right.
So if money were, I mean, you're currently held back by money.
Money and effort. Not really effort, but guarantees for a strong word, but people who want to dive into it. That's mostly a thing. Yeah, money as well. Say money.
Is it money, or is it people that want to join it to make the system grow?
I think let's say money really, because it's that people really, how do you say it? How do you say that? Really?
Yeah. Engage. Yeah.
Thank you.
So have you made a ecosystem map where you describe all the incentives for all the players to know how to get their incentives aligned with the interest they share?
Do we have an ecosystem map? A little bit?
Yeah, or an economic model, or do we have the catch box here? Ah, okay, awesome. So actually, what you just said is that during the hackathon, you already had a sketch of which players are in your ecosystem and what their interest is to use the product or the system that you have built. Kind of.
Sorry,
Yes?
I was.
Yeah.
Can you repeat?
So during the hackathon, you already made like an ecosystem map where you had some different players with what is their interest in using your product and what do they want to get out of it?
Yeah, we did. It was mostly the parties which were involved in the track, like the Dutch Cadaster, the Chamber of Commerce, but also organizations like Stichting Eigen Huis, the house owners, but also organizations of the contractors, like the ones installing solar panels. So, yeah, there are a lot of parties who could be involved in this case, and we need a couple to onboard and to bring the idea further.
So just to disprove my own assumptions here, how would you feel if on a Monday you would have a mini ICO bringing in €500,000 and then just take it off?
Yeah, that would be great.
All right.
It would be interesting, yes.
So that sounds
Would you feel comfortable doing that or uncomfortable with all the material you gather during a hackathon?
No, we're comfortable with that. Yes.
So what's stopping you from doing that?
Who thinks we should organize that as the end day of the hackathon?
What stops us from doing it? Because it's not our only thing we're working on. So we're doing a lot of projects. So there seem to be a lot of effort to be put in this to bring the concept further. So that's the idea.
So let me put, Rutger, forgive me for this, he's making no promise. I'm saying this, but if this is something that Blockchaingers could help you with, getting that arranged, would that be interesting for you?
Definitely.
Okay. I've got another question
Thanks.
from the room, if I may. Let's see how this works. There we go.
Okay, and now I'm going to go against what Rutger you said. I think we have a little bit of the same problem in a sense, but I think what you need is, okay, once you need you get money, because that money comes from somewhere, or from a stakeholder engagement portfolio, or comes from people who are participating in an ICO. Who are these people getting value back for that money? So what are your income streams? You need all those things. What is your plan for the return on investments in this platform? So you need, are you going to provide support? Are you going to put a federal GPL license that you're going to outsource and get a license on?
Well, to make it measurable, it's hard to do that. But of course, you see also in the thing we proposed, well, on the one hand, you have the government. The added value there is mostly that they get a better view on consumption of their subsidies. You have the contractors who get an entire bidding market and a new market that they can really just, instead of say, hey, you want to go and isolate your house, I can help you with that, see who is really looking for it. Now, in the end, if there's a lot of competition, that might be a bad thing. I don't know, but I think you get a new market in that case. And on the other hand, you get the consumer there who suddenly have a really historical passport that they can use to resell their house, which is, so there's a lot of added value and benefits in that. But of course, to make it tangible, like how much will everyone make, quid pro quo, for each of those individuals, that's really hard to say up front. And the business model behind it is that really, should that be a token on one hand, meaning that if you, every time you go and use a system, you have to pay for something, so for consumption? Is it like for if you are an early starter, you get some extra benefits and so on and so on? Should there be a token behind it, like somewhere, or a coin? I don't think that's necessary, but that might be a solution, but I don't know that, really. But you can feel there's a lot of benefits for it, hard to make them tangible.
I think a token might make you too comfortable in the sense that you get a bunch of millions of dollars and then you have like analysis paralysis, where am I going to start? So all these questions, you still have to answer them before you decide whether you need a token or not. And if you get a token, but okay, I can use a token, but how is this value exchange going to work behind it? I think your business model is really what needs a lot of work here.
And I think that's, we're out of time now, but I think that's a really good reminder that we are really still pioneering. You know, as much work as you've done, and actually, Rutger, you sort of said this in your opening, is every time we do this, it feels like starting again. Of course, it's on a new level, but every time we think we've cracked something, we find a whole host of other things that still need to be solved. So, deep breath, guys, keep going. And I suggest you go find this young lady during the barbecue, because I think she's got some ideas for you.
Yeah, that's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, the team from The Ledger.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.